The sports world was quiet for just a moment after the MLB All-Star Game, but then the NBA grabbed the headlines with another superstar changing teams. We've been speculating all summer, but the San Antonio Spurs finally traded two-time Defensive Player of the Year Kawhi Leonard to the Toronto Raptors. Leonard, who sat out all but 9 games last season with an injury, was reportedly unhappy in San Antonio and wants to join LeBron in Los Angeles. His camp says his tenure in Toronto won't last. Joining me now to break it all down is Bill Reiter. He is the host of Reiter's Block on CBS Sports HQ. Bill, so great to see you. What is behind this? I mean, if healthy, Kawhi Leonard is one of the NBA's best. So what can he bring to the Raptors? Yeah,
if he's healthy and if he's not a malcontent, and it's hard to sort of know what went down in San Antonio, but he did not play for most of the last season, and some people in the league would tell you by choice, it makes the Raptors a dynamic team at least for a year. Now, as you indicated, most people think he'll be gone after this next season, but I'd argue he's the second best player in the game. He averages in the mid-20s per game. He's a defensive star. So it's a big gamble by the Raptors, but if it works for the next year, if he's healthy, if he's out there, they can be really competitive in the Eastern Conference.
So do you think he could change the outlook for the Eastern Conference?
I do. I think the Celtics are the team to beat. I think Philly is up next. But if Kawhi is the guy that we've seen before, the last, a couple years ago, I think there's a chance they could be the best team in the Eastern Conference and earn the right to go to the finals and get slaughtered by the Golden State Warriors. I think it's probably preordained.
Now, on the flip side, the Spurs are getting DeMar Derozan. Can he really shake things up?
It's interesting. I mean, DeMar's a really great offensive player, although in modern NBA, you want guys that can play defense. You want guys that can shoot the three. DeMar can't do either, but I understand what the Spurs are doing. They had to move on from Kawhi. They didn't want to trade him in the Western Conference and have to compete against him, and they get an all-star and a great offensive player in DeMar DeRozan. So he's a great piece. He's a nice addition. I think it remains to be seen how that's going to fit in San Antonio and what it means for them. Now,
what about Carmelo Anthony? We hear he's going to Atlanta, but then rumor has it he will be immediately released.
So basically, the GM in Atlanta, a guy named Travis Schlenk, is rebuilding. So he doesn't worry about the money this year. He's going to bring in Melo. He's going to get some. He moved Dennis Schroeder also goes to Oklahoma City. They get to protect a first-round pick. They're going to cut him immediately. They're going to waive him. They're going to pay him. And I imagine, and talking to sources, most people speculate he'll go to the Houston Rockets and team up with his buddy Chris Paul, and we'll see whether finally Melo can have some real postseason success.
It's all so complicated, the machinations there, Bill. I can't keep track of it. All right, now on the baseball side, Manny Machado is headed to the Dodgers, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Is that right?
So the Orioles, we knew that Manny Machado was going to move, and there were 10 teams that were in the mix, and the Dodgers, the team that made the best offer. Andrew Friedman, the president of operations, Farhan Zaidi, the GM, taking a big gamble. A lot like Kawhi Leonard, Machado's a free agent. After this season, they already have a shortstop in Corey Seager, who's out for the year. But for at least the time being, it's a huge move for the Dodgers. The odds in Vegas, and most of us who follow the sport day in, day out, I think it immediately makes them the favorite in the National League. That's how impressive, that's how dynamic an offensive threat Machado is.
Absolutely. Now, we have to talk about this Miami Dolphins new rule that could suspend players who protest during the national anthem. Could, suspend them up to 4 games? Is that right? Is this a change of heart on the part of the Miami Dolphins leadership?
I think it's just a reminder that the National Football League at the commissioner's level and just owner to owner are still trying to figure out how in the world to deal with this really nuanced, really divisive topic that the president has found a lot of political advantage with, but certainly the National Football League has not. The latest is that, I mean, the Dolphins, and this was the new policy. The teams had a right to make decisions on their own. The Jets said, not going to fine or punish our guys. The Dolphins had to fill out this paperwork like other teams heading into camp, saying that we reserve the right to suspend guys up to 4 games. But it obviously is another reminder that the NFL is just struggling with this topic.
Is this coming from Stephen Ross, the owner of the Dolphins? Because I thought I remembered that he initially was standing behind the players who were protesting.
There's been a lot of back and forth. I mean, Jerry Jones, remember, went out there and linked arms with his guys and then kind of walked off a little bit. I think what's happening is that owners like Ross probably want to do the right things by their players, but most importantly for them, they want to protect the sport. And fans are divided on this, and fans have turned the TV off because of it. And it's one thing to talk about politics. It's another thing to engage in it at the level that this president does. I mean, he's the president for a reason. He's a very effective politician. These NFL owners, I think, like a lot of people, underestimated President Trump's ability to make this issue, make it into political hay and have it not go away, and they're still struggling with it.
And what do the players say about it? How do they feel?
It depends who you talk to. I mean, just like in the country at large, there's a lot of different opinions in locker rooms around the National Football League. But these protests, you talk to a lot of players, a lot of African-American players, but not just the black men who play the sport, some white players too, will point out that this is about protesting violence against unarmed black men at the hands of police. But there's certainly, just like in the country at large, a lot of players in the NFL who, for whatever reason, view this as unpatriotic, kneeling during the anthem. So that same divisiveness on the issue among fans, you'll find at the National Football League level, too.
A very divisive issue indeed, as you said. Bill Reiter, thank you so much for coming to see us. And don't forget, you can watch Bill's show, Reiter's Block. He will be speaking to Anthony Davis of the New Orleans Pelicans next Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern.